Another weekend of the Premiership, the best competition in the world, best club competition at least. It is fantastic. And we have got some great matchups this weekend. I'm really excited about some of the games this weekend and also very nervous as a Saracens fan. But let's get straight into the first game. And we're starting off with a big one here. Sale Sharks at home in the Salford Community Stadium taking on Northampton Saints. And this is a really interesting game. This is the Friday night game, of course. Let's look at the Sale team. Here's the Sale team. It's a strong team. I mean, the likes of George Ford at 10, Rob Dupree, of course, at 13. I love Rob Dupree. Tom Roebuck, Joe Carpenter, Tom Curry's back in. No Ben Curry this time, but, you know, it's still a very strong team. Those two locks of Bamba and Hill are frightening. That is a lot of size there. Bevan Rod, Cowan Dickey and Lapoku Forjour. Oh, this is a really strong Sale team. So it's going to be interesting to see how they go up against Northampton Saints. They have got a pretty strong team as well. Here it is. They've got, as you see from the picture, Tommy Freeman is back in at the wing. Hendy is on the other wing. James Ram is the 15, which I think is a bit odd. This is the week they've decided to rest Finn Smith, but Alex Mitchell is back to try and make up some of that. And you've got Henry Pollock getting a start at 8. So this is a really strong team for Northampton. They're only really missing Finn Smith and obviously George Furbank is still out injured. So those are the two main people they're missing. And Ollie Slightholme still, I think, nursing an injury. But it's going to be really interesting to watch this. If I'm right, I think Tommy Freeman and Tom Roebuck are on opposite wings, which is a shame because I quite like to watch an aerial battle between the two of them. They're very, very, very similar players, so that would have been an interesting one to watch. I'm sure they will come up against each other a few times this game, but they are mostly going to be on opposite sides. George Hendy, though, going up against Tom Roebuck, that's also an interesting battle. And again, Freeman against O'Flaherty. I feel like that's where Freeman and Northampton can get an edge. I think Freeman's a bit bigger than, well, he's bigger than O'Flaherty and has a few different skill sets. But yeah, it's going to be a really interesting game. You would think Sale have the edge in the power game, but Northampton Saints have, when they're clicking, a more clinical attack. So up in Sale, Northampton aren't in great form. They still haven't really found their form this season, I don't think. Sale did this last year. They just ground out wins in the last 2-3 months of the season. I'm going to go for a Sale Sharks victory at home. And the next game is 9th versus 10th in the Premiership. Obviously, Exeter taking on Newcastle Falcons. They're doing it down in Sandy Park in Exeter. So I think Exeter will have too much for them in this game. I'm going to go for an Exeter win. They've got a half-strong team out. Molina's back in. Henry Slade's playing at outside centre. Now, I thought he got an HIA last week against Bristol, and that's 10 days protocol before he can play again, and it's only been 7. So either that was wrong, or they're just going to risk a brain injury. I don't know what's going on there. But Henry Slade starting at 13. Brown Bampo at 14. He's very exciting. It'd be good to watch him. Ben Cohen at the under-20s fly half gets another start. He was iffy last week, we have to admit. He was iffy and made a few little errors, which is expected as a young player coming through. But yeah, against Newcastle, this is probably a better opportunity for him to get into his rhythm and be more comfortable and try and express himself a bit more. So yeah, it's going to be an interesting game. I think that's the real noticeable ones. Martin Maloney is still in the team after Grondona smashed his face in, so that's good at least. Going into the Newcastle things, I can't remember if the Chavez was there last week at lock, but he's there this week. I just noticed his name more, so I think he's a good player. I've still got the big players like Blamire, Schick are playing. Yeah, it's about your normal sort of Newcastle team. No Sammy Arnold in the centres. I don't think he's on the bench. No, so I don't know what's happened to him. Is it Sammy Arnold? It's Sammy Arnold. But there we go. That's the Newcastle team. I think they're going to lose. Let's just get this one out of the way of. Bath versus Harlequins. This is a big game, and Bath have put out a very, very, very strong team. Ben Urbano, Tom Dunn, Will Stewart, that's probably their strongest front three. Or again, Thomas Dutoy is on the bench. That is just ridiculous. And Francois Van Fake, that is stupid strength from Bath. They've got Ross Maloney and Charlie Ewells as the locks, and then Ted Hill, Miles Reed and Alfie Barbary in the back row. And they just casually got Guy Pepper, Sam Underhill there on the bench. You know, they're just there if they need them. Jaco Courtesy playing that sort of forward back utility role on the bench as well. Will Muir and Joe Cokanasiga are the wings. Cokanasiga is back from, I think, he was injured last week? Or was it? No, he was injured last week, wasn't he? I can't remember. He's been injured the last few weeks, or Premiership rounds, I should say. So, yeah, good to see him getting a start. De Glanville at fullback, Redpath and Ojomo continue on as the centres in Ollie Laurentson's absence. No Will Butts back in yet. And I should mention Ben Spencer and Finn Russell are the halfbacks. So it's the strongest team I think Bath can put out, really. So yeah, it's going to be exciting. But Harlequins have also put out the strongest team they can, really, because they got Will Porter and Marcus Smith as their halfbacks, Nick David, Rodrigo Isro and Tyrone Green as the back three. That is very, very exciting. Finn Baxter and Cunningham South make a return. The only real omissions you could say are Don Brandt and maybe Will Evans and maybe Chisholm on the bench for more depth. But yeah, other than that, mostly Quinn's strongest team. So it's going to be really exciting, I think, against Bath. Obviously, Quinn's getting a great win over Saracens last week. Just appalling. But there we go. They're going to go away to the Wreck this time. And it could be a close game. But I think Bath have too much power. Again, the forwards and the forwards' depth will be the difference, in my opinion. This is a tasty one, isn't it? Gloucester versus Bristol. The Bristol Bears are going to have to go down to Kingsholm and play in front of the Shed. And, I can't wait to watch this one. As you can see there, Fasogban is the prop for Gloucester, and alongside him is Val Rapava Ruskin. Well, it's actually Jack Singleton, but Val Rapava Ruskin is the other prop for Gloucester. The two Freddies continue at lock, Freddie Clark and Freddie Thomas. And then I think it's the same back row as last week, Jack Clement, Lewis Ludlow, Ruin Ackerman. So yeah, I think Anscombe has dropped away, if I'm correct. I think he started last week. It's Charlie Atkinson this week. Alongside him, Seb Atkinson and Chris Harris. Wade and Hathaway, the wings, Carreras at fullback. So pretty much standard from Gloucester. And if we get into the Bristol team, obviously they're missing Grondona, so Stephen Luatua gets a start this week. He usually starts a lot of weeks, to be fair, but he is replacing Grondona, who is suspended. Gabriel Ogre is the hooker, and outside him is Genge and Lahith. I think I'm correct in saying Genge had a third child or something last week, which is why he dropped out, or something big family news. I think it's a third child. So congrats to Ellis Genge if you had a third child. If you didn't, unlucky. James Dunn and Caulfield are the two locks. I think who was the lock last week? It was Joe Owen. I don't know where Batley is, but yeah, lots of lock depth there for Bristol Bears. The two Harrys are at the halfbacks, Randall and Byrne. James Williams and Van Rensburg, who were both fantastic last week against Exeter. So, yeah, this is a quality centre pairing. Rivalval on the wing again. Hopefully he doesn't get taken off early this time. My dog's barking. I'm just going to ignore it. Jack Bates, who played really well. I think he got a hat-trick last week. He's continuing on. And then Rich Lane at fullback. So, two really exciting teams. Gloucester and Bristol have both been playing really exciting styles of rugby this season. So, this should be an absolute cracker at Kingsholm. Oh, who's going to win now? I was about to finish it, but who's going to win? I don't know. I'm going to say Bristol. They were good last week against Exeter. I should mention AJ McGinty's on the bench. That's the first time he's been available, I think, since sort of middle of January. And he got injured against... I can't remember who he got injured against. But, it's great to see AJ McGinty back. So that is a big boost for Bristol going into the run-in of the season. Yeah, I'm going to go for a Bristol away win here. I'm not confident on it, but I'm just going to go with it. That's what my heart is saying. My heart's not confident on this final one because Leicester Tigers are at home against Saracens, the almighty Sarries. There we go. Let's just wave a thing. Lovely. But I have a bad feeling about this game. I think Leicester are going to win. I think they've got a lot of power in the forwards. We see Ollie Chesham in the photo there. He is back. Look at this. Nicky Smith, Montoya, Hayes. Cam Henderson's been in really good form this season. Liebenberg played it really well last week against Northampton. Tommy Raphael is Tommy Raphael. And who's just signed a new deal for Leicester Tigers, I'm pretty sure, so that's great news for them. And then Ollie Cracknell at number 8. So that is a strong forward pack, and they're still missing players like George Martin, who's a big player. Dan Cole is on the bench, I'm assuming. Yes, he is. So it's just ridiculous, really. Jack Van Portvey, Andre Pollard are the halfback pairings. Woodward and Catter continue on in the centres. Hassel, Collins, Radwan, Stewart. I think that's the same sort of back line, all 7 of them, as it was last week. So I'm worried. I think at home at Welford Road, Leicester are going to win. If I look at the Saracens lineup, I mean, a few players well, Ben Earl's back on the bench. It was a strong team last week, wasn't it? So it's about the same, really. Angus Hall gets his starting debut. I think because Shagan got injured in the showdown last week, so he will be out for a little bit, I'm assuming. Something about hamstring, I'm pretty sure. Elliot Daly at 15, Tompkins Zozowski, Van Zyl and Burke at half-back as usual. Maui and Balmain are the starting props with Carey and Riccioni on the bench. That's quite a bit of strength, and you're going to need it against Leicester Tigers. Theo Dan on the bench, Jamie George starting. Itoje, Tizard, Locks, McFarland, Gonzalez, Willis, same as last week. It's interesting though, Itoje and Jamie George and Elliot Daly and Tom Willis are all starting this game. Now, isn't it protocol that England players have to take one of the first 3 weeks after Six Nations off? Which, I hope that's not true, because that would indicate that all those 4 players I just mentioned will not be playing against Toulon in the Champions Cup next week. And I know we just lost to Harlequins A-B team at home, but I genuinely do believe Saracens, the dogs are barking again. I genuinely do believe Saracens have a chance against Toulon. So I'm a bit annoyed that if they do have to rest them next week, I'd rather they rest them this week. I think they're going to lose to Leicester. It's really close. Saracens could genuinely put 20 points on them and get a comfortable win. But I could also see Leicester overpowering them. They seem in better, I don't know, just better form as a team right now. So yeah, it's going to be a really interesting game. It's probably going to be a game for the forwards. They're 2 very physical sides. But I think that sort of same style will actually help make the game more entertaining. So let's see how it goes. But I'm going to go against what I should be saying and say Leicester Tigers will get the win. But there you go. There's my thoughts and feelings about the games this weekend in round 13. Round 13, because I incorrectly said round 13 last week, and as someone said, that was wrong. And thanks for correcting me. And talk about correcting me, guys, do let me know how you feel about these sort of videos. I realise that I'm going through each team lineup. It can take a bit of a while. There's 10 lineups to go through. Would you rather me just sort of say who I think is going to win and a bit about how it will go instead of going through the whole lineups for these 5 games? Do let me know what format you think I should do for these Premiership videos. Should I just do a sort of individual video for each game? I'm not sure how that would go down. But yeah, let me know in the comments below. Please do subscribe if you want to see more stuff on the Premiership. I want to do more stuff that's not just match previews and reviews. I want to talk about more the history of the Premiership and what the future's going to look like, promotion, relegation stuff, or how many teams should be in the league. So that's all the sorts of things I want to look at going forward. So please do subscribe if you want to see that. Let me know in the comments again any video ideas you would like me to explore. I'm open to any suggestions. But yes, if you have got this far, please do like this video. I really appreciate you watching all the way through if you have got here. And hopefully I will see you in the next one. I will if you've subscribed. So yeah, thanks for watching and I'll see you soon.